Good evening, everyone. Call the City Council to order at 8 o'clock on Monday, May 18th. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Similar to last time, councilors, a few opening remarks before we get started. This evening's meeting will be conducted, again, a little differently than our usual council meeting. Reminder, we're implementing the governor's executive order regarding relief for the open meeting law. This allows the councilors to participate remotely. All councilors are present, and we will conduct a roll call shortly to confirm. Councilors have been asked to review the agenda items before the meeting and contact the mayor and/or department heads to obtain answers to their questions prior to the meeting, so this meeting can be conducted efficiently. All votes will be via roll call. The mayor is available, should he be needed, to address any council questions. New for this meeting, this will be our first meeting where the council will be conducting public hearings with the public participating remotely. We will try to make this as seamless as possible and ask for your cooperation and patience as we all learn this together. And I will discuss this further before the start of the public hearings. I will ask the members of the public that are participating to keep their computers and/or phones on mute until the public meeting portion of the agenda. We have 25 items on this evening's agenda. I will now ask the clerk to call the roll to confirm attendance.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner is present.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette is present.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas is present.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera is present.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish is present.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin is present.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landis is present.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram is present.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing is present.
Councilor Perlman.
Councilor Perlman is present.
And Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby is present.
11 present, sir.
The roll confirms all 11 councilors are present. I will now ask the clerk to read agenda item number 1.
Minutes, City Council meeting, May 4th, 2020.
Mr. President,
Councilor Tenera.
a motion to accept and place on file.
A motion has been made to accept and place on file the minutes from our last meeting. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll to accept and place on file the minutes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Perlman.
Councilor Perlman votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Oram. Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to accept and place on file the minutes is approved unanimously, 11-0. Agenda item number 2.
Now is the time set for the continued public hearing on the application for an LED sign special permit from William Camuso on behalf of Lincoln 431 LLC, the Shell Station at 431 Lincoln Street, order number 20-100-7948C. And in addition, we have a communication from AUB Engineering on behalf of Lincoln 431 LLC, the Shell Station at 431 Lincoln Street, with a request for an extension of time for the public hearing.
Mr. President, Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to continue the public hearing until June 22nd and to accept and place on file the communication from AUB Engineering.
A motion has been made and seconded to continue the public hearing until June 22nd and accept and place on file the communication from AUB Engineering. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes yes.
Thank you, I'm sorry. Councilor Pearlman.
Councilor Pearlman votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
And Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to continue the public hearing to June 22nd and accept the AUB Engineering extension request to accept and place on file, both are approved by a vote of 11-0. Item 3.
Now is the time for the public hearing on the petition from Eversource Energy to install 30 feet of 2-inch IP gas main as a system improvement on Jefferson Street from the current end of the gas main at 23 Jefferson Street to number 27 Jefferson Street. Order number 20-100-7980. In addition, we have a communication from City Engineer Thomas DePercio with recommended conditions for the Eversource petition on Jefferson Street.
Okay, councilors, before we get started, and for the members of the public that are planning to participate, a few comments. So as I mentioned earlier, this is our first meeting where the council will be conducting public hearings with the public participating remotely. Again, we will try to make this as seamless as possible, and we ask for your cooperation and patience as we all learn this together. So here's some key things to remember as we go through the public hearing. Please keep your computer and or phone muted when not speaking. Unmute to speak, and then mute when finished speaking. And it's *6 for the phone?
*6, yes, sir.
Just like if the public was in the chamber, please be respectful while waiting for the public hearings to start, as the council needs to conduct its business. This is an important one. The system does not work when everyone tries to speak at once. We will do our best to get each individual an opportunity to speak. Please be patient. Another important reminder, do not watch the meeting on TV. There is a delay. Your remote access capability is real time. Should there be technical issues, we will recess and determine if they can be corrected. Our IT department will monitor the system for issues and will remove individuals who are disrupting the meeting. And at the conclusion of all the public meetings, so after Agenda Item 7, our last public hearing, we will recess and will clear participants and then allow the council to continue with the remainder of their agenda. There are 5 public hearings. We'll start with the 4 Eversource and then the ordinance change for the contractor yards. So for agenda item number 3, open the public hearing. There are 4 stages to the public hearing. Public speaking in favor, questions from the public speaking in opposition, and questions from the City Council. So at this time, I open the portion of the public hearing for the public speaking in favor of the petition.
Thank you, Council. My name is Bonnie Quartermash. I'm a project engineer with Gas Engineering at Eversource. And I'm going to give a brief overscope of this particular request. We have an existing IP intermediate pressure gas main that is already on Jefferson, and we've had a request to extend the service to the next facility down. and that requires us to extend the main about 30 feet in order to put in a service to that particular location. And we'll be here to answer questions if you have any concerning exactly what is going on with this particular petition.
Thank you, Bonnie. At this point, I would ask the city clerk to read a correspondence from our city engineer.
Council President Ossing and members, regarding order number 20-1007980, which has been referred to the engineering department, which is a petition from Eversource Energy to install a total of 30 feet of 2-inch IP gas main in Jefferson Street from number 23 to number 27, I offer the following for your consideration. Jefferson Street was paved by the city in 2015-2016. As conditions of the approval of this petition, I would request, 1, that Jefferson Street be milled and paved from curb to curb by Eversource from the southernmost limit of their trench all the way to the section that is being milled as part of the multi-unit housing project that is presently under construction. The milling and final pavement shall be coordinated with the developer so that all trenches, Eversources and developers will be within one contiguous curb-to-curb mill and overlay. And 2, that Eversource complete their ongoing work on Pleasant Street, Bolton Street, and Poirier Drive prior to mobilizing their forces to this project. Please contact me with any questions. Thank you. Thomas DiPercio, Jr., City Engineer.
Thank you. Are there any other public speaking in favor? Are there any other public speaking in favor? Are there any other public speaking in favor? Hearing none, close that part of the public hearing. Questions from the public? Are there any questions from the public? Any questions from the public? Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing. Public speaking in opposition. Are there any members of the public speaking in opposition? Members of the public speaking in opposition? Hearing none, I close that part of the public hearing. Questions from the city councilors?
Mr. President, Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby.
I guess it's not a question, but maybe just a statement that if the road will be completely closed closer to where the construction will take place, can they please make sure that there's a notice put at the Hudson Street end so that cars do not drive all the way down the street and be told that they can't get through?
Yeah, I believe they can, because they'll typically have a detail if they close the whole street.
I believe so, yes, sir.
But I'm sure we'll pass that comment along to the city engineer, Councilor Roby. I mean, that's a fair request.
All right, because they have closed it for other things on this project, and they have not closed, or at least not put a notice that the road was closed.
And we can pass that along to the...
I'll make sure that it's passed along to the engineering and police department.
Thank you, Councilor Roby. Any other questions from the councilors?
Mr. President, Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers.
I will be talking to the city engineer, and I will remind him of the importance of putting up close or do not enter. A couple comments, Mr. President. I'd like to, mention the city engineer, Tom DiPercio. What a wonderful job he's done on all these projects as far as looking at them, talking to the contractors, talking to his department to come up with the conditions that will be included in this order. It's so important that, when a utility company, finishes their product, they get the road back in near perfect condition. As I mentioned, Jefferson Street was done over a few years ago, and now we have this project there. But I must say that Tom DiPercio, he does a wonderful job. I had a great discussion with him last Friday. So, but there again, that's why we have some good people in that department. That being the case, Mr. President, I'd like to move forward on this. I'd like to vote on this order tonight and make sure it includes the conditions that that Tom put forth. So I am going to make a motion to approve this order, Mr. President.
I'll make a motion. I'll second it for the time being to include the conditions as outlined by the city engineer, but let's just make sure we finish with this portion of the public hearing to see if there's any other councilors that have any questions. Are there any other councilors that have questions?
Mr. President.
Councilor Oram?
Yeah, well, there's two of us trying to get in. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to overstep someone. Just a quick note, it does indicate, too, from the developer on Jefferson Street that he will be doing the milling as part of his commitment to this project, because he's the one requesting the gas lines, I guess, go into his facility. And obviously, he's looking to see what the status will be tonight. And I wanted to thank our city engineer as well. What I would like to know is, how do we get guarantee that the other work is done, and who will control that permit? So that permit will not be released until Pleasant Street, Bolton Street, and Poirier Drive, which you will find as conditions in the next few hearings, that is done. So I just don't know if the engineer is available to explain how we will be assured that that work is done before this work commences, and how does it affect the developer as well.
I'm not sure if the city engineer is on, Councilor Oram, but I did talk to the city engineer with just that question, how do we guarantee those permits? And his response was they have a very good working relationship with Eversource, and they dish out the permits and make sure those work is done, and these will be conditions of this particular petition for the pull the permit. So he was very confident that it was not a problem, that the Eversource would adhere to the conditions that were set up by his, not only this one, but on the subsequent public hearings as well.
Thank you, Mr. President. The question was based on, too, the developer looking for this gas line as well. If Eversource doesn't complete those other projects, hopefully the developer knows that he's at risk himself if Eversource does not complete the other projects. So I just want to make sure that whatever we decide on, I know Council Landers did indicate these will be conditions in the permit, that the developer knows that as well, so that he can't come back and say, why am I waiting so long? Something like that could happen. But thank you, Mr. President, for indicating your information.
Thank you,
Mr. President, Councilor Landers again. I did have an extensive conversation last Friday with the city engineer, and you're right, Mr. President. They do have that working relationship, but, these are ongoing projects. They're always coming for new ones. They do hold a lot of clout, on these utilities. But remember, these utilities are really part of the community, too. And they realize that if they do a project, they want to end up looking good. So between, our Department of Public Works and our engineering department, I really feel that these projects will be done right, and will make the streets look good again. That's all, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Landers. Are there any other questions from the councilors?
Yes, President Dawson. It's Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Honestly, Councilor Oram actually beat me to the punch as far as making sure that the other projects are completed in time before this one is started. I think that that's an important part of this. Everyone's schedule for construction has pretty much been blown out of the bucket because of what's been going on with the pandemic. So, whatever the schedule is going to be, it will be. I don't think there's much we can do about it. But I do think it's important that we finish the projects that are at hand before we move on to the next ones, and make sure that the city engineer, DePercio, approves that these have been completed before the next rounds of permit is passed on. So that's all I needed to say.
Thank you, Councilor Doucette. Are there any other questions from the councilors? Any other questions from the councilors? Any other questions from the councilors? Hearing none, I close that part of the public hearing and the entire public hearing. There's been a motion that's been made and seconded to approve the petition subject to the conditions by the city engineer. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes yes.
Councilor Perlman.
Councilor Perlman votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
And Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to approve the Eversource petition to install a gas line on Jefferson Street subject to the conditions of the city engineer is approved 11-0. Agenda item number 4.
Now is the time for the public hearing on the petition from Eversource Energy to install a total of 500 feet of 4-inch IP gas main as a system improvement on Neal and Zompedi Street. As outlined in the petition, order number 20-100-7981. And in addition, we have a communication from City Engineer Thomas DePercio with recommended conditions for the Eversource petition on Neal Street and Zompedi Street.
Again, this public hearing will be conducted in 4 stages: public speaking in favor, questions from the public, public speaking in opposition, and questions from the city councilors. We'll start with public speaking in favor. Is there any public speaking in favor?
Yes, hi, this is Bonnie Quartermarsh from Eversource Gas, project engineer for this particular project. Just a brief overview of the project. We currently have a gas main on Neal Street. It is a low-pressure gas line. Last year, we relayed a new plastic gas main there, but we did not connect it in. It's in the ground and ready for activation. And that plan for that is to move it from our LP system to our IP system. In order to do that, we need to connect to House Street. And Zompedi is the street in which we would like to put the new gas main that goes from Howe to the Neal connection. And right now there was no gas utility there, so of course we're applying to make sure that we can move the gas from the IP system, the intermediate pressure system, to make Neal Street a conversion to intermediate pressure.
Thank you, Bonnie. If I could ask the city clerk to read the letter from the city engineer.
Council President Ossing, regarding order number 20-100-7981, which has been referred to the engineering department, which is a petition from Eversource Energy to install a total of 500 feet of 4-inch IP gas main in Neal Street and Zompedi Street. I offer the following for your consideration. I have no objection to the installation of gas at this location. As a condition of the approval of this petition, I would request that Eversource Gas complete their ongoing work on Pleasant Street, Bolton Street, and Poirier Drive prior to mobilizing their forces for this new project. Please contact me with any questions. Thomas DePercio, Jr., City Engineer.
Thank you. So, continuing the public speaking in favor. Are there any other public speaking in favor? Any other public speaking in favor? Any other public speaking in favor? Hearing none, close that part of the public hearing. Questions from the public? Are there any questions from the public? Questions from the public? Hearing none, I close that part of the public hearing. Public speaking in opposition. Are there any public speaking in opposition? Public speaking in opposition. Hearing none, close that part of the public hearing. Questions from the city councilors? Any questions from the city councilors?
Mr. President, Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers.
I think as our concern before kind of presents itself here, the fact that the city engineer mentioned that he would, until they take care of Pleasant Street, Bolton Street, and Poirier Drive, they have to be completed before they can mobilize their forces to the new project. That sounds like a pretty solid instruction there. So I'm all set on that, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Landers. Any other questions from the councilors? Questions from the councilors? Questions from the councilors? Hearing none, I close that part of the public hearing and the entire public hearing. Councilor Landers, do you have a motion?
Yes, I would, Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion that we approve this order with all the conditions included.
Motion made and seconded to approve the petition for Eversource to install the gas line on Neal and Zompetti Streets, subject to the conditions from the city engineer. That motion is made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Councilor Pearlman votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
And Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
Thank you. The motion to approve the Eversource petition to install a gas line on Neal and Zompetti Street, subject to the city engineer's conditions, is approved 11-0. Agenda item number 5.
Now is the time for the public hearing on the petition from Eversource Energy to install 200 feet of 4-inch IP gas main as a system improvement on Pleasant Street between Elm Street and Allen Court, order number 20-100-7997. And in addition, we have a communication from City Engineer Thomas DePercio with the recommended conditions for the Eversource petition on Pleasant Street.
Thank you. Again, this public hearing will be conducted in 4 stages. Public speaking in favor, questions from the public, public speaking in opposition, and questions from the city councilors. We'll start the public hearing with the public speaking in favor. Any public speaking in favor?
Yes, Councilor, this is Bonnie Quartermash with Eversource Gas, Project Engineering, talking in favor of this project. There is a small gap in the IP main between Elm Street and Allen Court. Would like to close that gap to improve the pressure system in that area, and that's why we're presenting tonight. As you know, we're working on Pleasant Street. We've been relaying very old pipe there with brand new gas main, and this would make a complete gas main actually up the entire distance there from Lincoln Street all the way north, and make a nice complete project. So I just wanted to make sure that this is a little bit different than the last few. This is closing a gap between 2 existing systems.
Thank you, Bonnie. If I could ask the city clerk to read the letter from the city engineer, please.
Council President Ossing, regarding order number 20-100-7997, which has been referred to the engineering department, which is petition from Eversource Energy to install a total of 200 feet of 4-inch IP gas main on Pleasant Street from Elm Street to Allen Court. I offer the following for your consideration. I have no objection to the installation of gas at this location. Eversource is currently replacing their mains on Pleasant Street, and this is a small section that presently does not have a gas main. I would note that the city presently has a roadway reconstruction project ongoing on Pleasant Street, and it is important that Eversource complete its work as soon as possible so as not to delay our project. I would request that if the council is inclined to approve this petition, that they do it at the May 18th meeting if possible. Please contact me with any questions. Thank you. Thomas DePercio, City Engineer.
Thank you. Any other public speaking in favor? Is there any other public speaking in favor? Any other public speaking in favor? Hearing none, close that portion of the public hearing. Questions from the public? Are there any questions from the public? Questions from the public? Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing. Public speaking in opposition. Are there any members of the public speaking in opposition? Any members of the public speaking in opposition? Hearing none, close that portion of the public hearing. Questions from the city councilors? Any questions from the city councilors? Questions from the city councilors? Hearing none, close that part of the public hearing and the entire public hearing. Councilor Landers, you have a motion?
Yes, I do, Mr. President. Honoring the city engineer's request, we will, I hope, approve this petition tonight because he mentioned that in his memo that they're trying to wrap this up. So my motion is to approve this order with the conditions involved.
Motion made and seconded to approve the order subject to the conditions of the city engineer, which is to basically finish Pleasant Street.
Right.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councillor Ossing.
Councillor Ossing votes yes.
Councillor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councillor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Councillor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councillor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes yes.
Councillor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councillor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette.
I'm sorry, Councillor Doucette?
Sorry. Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Thank you. Councillor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
Councillor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councillor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
And Councillor Pearlman.
Councilor Pearlman votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to approve the Eversource petition to install gas line on Pleasant Street is approved, subject to the city engineer's recommendation, is approved. 11 in favor, none opposed. It is unanimous. Agenda item number 6.
Now is the time for the public hearing on the petition from Eversource Energy to install 200 feet of 8-inch IP gas main as a system improvement on Brimmsmead Street from Short Street to number 65 Brimmsmead Street, order number 20-100-7998. And in addition, we have a communication from City Engineer Thomas DePercio regarding recommended conditions for the Eversource petition of Brimmsmead Street.
Thank you. Again, this public hearing will be conducted in 4 stages. Public speaking in favor, questions from the public speaking in opposition, and questions from the city councilors. At this time, I'll ask for public speaking in favor. Any public speaking in favor?
Yes, Councilor. This is Bonnie Quartermarsh with Eversource Energy, Gas Engineering Group. Talking about the gap closure on Brimmsmead. There is gas actually on almost all of Brimmsmead. We have intermediate pressure on the eastern portion and low pressure on the western portion. This gap will allow us to complete the upgrade of Brimmsmead to all being intermediate pressure, and in our larger goal to be a more safe infrastructure. So this small 200-foot gap would allow that to occur along with the relay of brand new main on Brimmsmead, removing some old steel main which is in that street as well. That's all I have.
Thank you, Bonnie. If I could ask the city clerk to read the correspondence from the city engineer, please.
Council President Ossing, regarding order number 20-100-7998, which has been referred to the engineering department, which is a petition of Eversource Energy to install a total of 200 feet of 8-inch IP gas main in Brimmsmead Street from Short Street to number 65. I offer the following for your consideration. The city paved Brimmsmead Street in 2014-15, and although Eversource was aware of issues with their main prior to the start of the city's project, they did not initiate a replacement project in time. They have excavated in Brimmsmead Street at least 7 times to repair gas leaks since the road was paved. I am now in receipt of a permit application from them to replace their main in Brimmsmead Street in its entirety, including the section for which this grant of location applies. As conditions of the approval of this petition, I would request, 1, that Brimmsmead Street be milled and paved from curb to curb by Eversource throughout the limits of their trenches, and 2, that Eversource complete their ongoing work on Pleasant Street, Bolton Street, and Poirier Drive prior to mobilizing their forces on this project. Please contact me with any questions. Thank you. Thomas DePercio, City Engineer.
Thank you. Continuing, any public speaking in favor? Any public speaking in favor? Any public speaking in favor? Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing. Questions from the public? Are there any questions from the public? Questions from the public? Hearing none, close that portion of the public hearing. Public speaking in opposition? Is there any public speaking in opposition? Public speaking in opposition? Hearing none, I close that part of the public hearing. Questions from the city councilors? Any questions from the city councilors?
Mr. President, Councilor Landers, I just want to mention again what an important, great job that Tom did in setting down these conditions. I think it's very, very important. And he certainly did his homework. He basically has told Eversource what needs to be done. And again, until they do these projects, they can't mobilize their forces. I think that's a good point. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Landers. Any other councilors? Any questions from the councilors? Questions from the councilors? Any questions from the councilors? Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing and the entire public hearing. Councilor Landers, would you care to make a motion? Councilor
I will make a motion to approve.
So with the city engineer's recommendations?
One more time, Mr. President?
With the city engineer's recommendations?
Oh, absolutely. I make a motion to approve, including the city engineer's recommendations and conditions. Yes.
Motion made and seconded to approve the Eversource petition on Brimsmead Street with the conditions outlined by the city engineer. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Doucette. Councilor Doucette.
Hold on. Oh, Councilor Doucette votes yes. Yes, my apologies for technical difficulties.
Councilor Perlman.
Councilor Perlman votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Navin. Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
And Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to approve the Eversource petition to install gas line on Brimsmead Street subject to the conditions of the city engineer is approved 11-0. To the Eversource folks, thank you very much. Agenda item.
Thank you, Counselor.
Agenda item number 7.
Now is the time for the continued public hearing on the proposed zoning amendment to Chapter 650, Sections 5, 17, and 18, relative to contractor yards and landscape contractor yards, and a proposed rezoning of land located on Farm Road, identified as Map 85, Parcel 12, Order Number 20-100-7947D.
Again, this public hearing will be taken in 4 stages. Public speaking in favor, questions from the public, public speaking in opposition, and questions from the city councilors. Again, just to remind the public on this, please state your name and address for the record. We'll bring you on as each item of the public hearing comes in. So we'll start with public speaking in favor. And I guess before we get started, there's a couple of communications. If you could read the communications, Mr. Clark, from...
We have 2 communications. One
To Attorney Grossfield, as we discussed, please accept this letter that my client, Trombetta Family Limited Partnership, owner of the property known as 655 Farm Road, Marlborough, Massachusetts, fully supports the proposed zoning ordinance amendment as recommended, and attached hereto as Exhibit A. If the zoning ordinance amendment is passed, Trombetta will file a stipulation of dismissal with prejudice in regard to the above referenced matter within 14 days. Please do not hesitate to contact me with questions. Very truly yours, Christopher J. Alphin. And the second communication is to dear councilors. I am writing on behalf of my client, Gina DiMatteo, individually and as a trustee of the 729 Farm Trust, to confirm for the record that she supports the proposed zoning ordinance amendments negotiated with the city, including the proposed map change, and will file a stipulation of dismissal with prejudice with the Middlesex Superior Court for the pending Zoning Board of Appeals case regarding her property within 14 days of the passage of the proposed amendments. Very truly yours, Donald J. O'Neill, Esquire.
Thank you. So again, continuing with the first part of the public hearing, so public speaking in favor.
Mr. President.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. I just want to take a minute of your time. I know a number of you were involved in the planning board meeting just a little while ago. This is something that obviously has been on the council agenda for over a year now. It was disposed of. We ended up in a lawsuit with a couple of the people that were looking to do one of these contractor yards. This is very similar to the proposal that was before the council a year ago. I know there's a number of new councilors there, and I'm sure you've become well aware of the situation. I think this is very favorable for the city and will give us an opportunity to start enforcing, based on this criteria, these yards moving forward and help protect some of the neighborhoods that are out there that have some that just will not fall into the ordinance that's before you tonight. This is an all or nothing type proposal. It's been negotiated with the courts, and I believe the people that had filed suit are both in favor of this proposal, and I think this is beneficial to everyone involved, and also will include many of the contractors throughout the city to allow them with some guidelines to move forward with their businesses. With that, Mr. President, I'll end my conversation, but be available for any questions you might have.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Are there any other public speaking in favor?
Mr. President, Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. For the councilors who are returning councilors from last year, this will be a little bit of history redo. For the new councilors, maybe it will be some new information for you. So back in December of 2018 was when this all began, with a similar order on the council agenda that also had language about home occupation and home office. Public hearing was held by both the City Council and the Planning Board, which the Planning Board agreed that the city should regulate, and they had several recommendations. Due to comments from the Planning Board and the councilors, however, a revised order was submitted in April of 2019, and then we had a joint public hearing with the Planning Board. Again, the Planning Board brought recommendations to the City Council. So this was on our June 3rd agenda with a letter from the solicitor for an additional amendment to the code, but it was specifically about home offices. That was tabled till June, at which time nothing ever came. Oh, I'm sorry, it was tabled on June 17th. It was referred to Urban Affairs. And then we had a meeting where that was actually approved. However, nothing ever came back to the council regarding landscape or contractors' yards. On July 8th, Charles Trombetta and Gina DiMatteo were issued violation orders from the code enforcement for Section 650-17, Table of Uses, contractor yards not permitted, and they also had two other citations. They appealed this to the ZBA. The ZBA denied them in September. In October, we were notified that Mr. Trombetta and Ms. DiMatteo were appealing to the land court the ZBA decision, and since that time, the city solicitor and their attorneys have been in communication. What we have before us, as the mayor said, is the culmination of that work. The mayor is pretty adamant that this be approved as presented, or he would not sign off on it. So I guess we have that warning from him. I do ask the council support. This has been a long process. We need to get this finished. The planning board did make a recommendation. They did have some, not really conditions, but some comments that I believe will be in a future letter to the city council for acceptance. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Roby. Are there any other members of the public speaking in favor? Members of the public speaking in favor? Members of the public speaking in favor? Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing. Questions from the public? Are there any questions from the public? Questions from the public? Hearing none, close that portion of the public hearing. Public speaking in opposition. Are there any members of the public speaking in opposition? Any members of the public speaking in opposition? Hearing none, close that part of the public hearing. Questions from the city councilors? Any questions from the city councilors?
Councilor Dumas has a question.
Councilor Dumas.
So I guess the big debate that happened when this came before us was, what if it's a pre-existing business that's not in these actual zoned areas? So for an example, the South Street properties that are not zoned for this, what will happen to those businesses?
Mr. Mayor, do you want to take this, or do you want me to try? I think he's unmuted himself. I'll let him answer.
Mr. President, if I might.
Mr. Mayor.
Actually, the South Street proposal, when that was originally included in this, Councilor Delano had looked to rezone the end of Pleasant Street to make them all conform, or allow them all to conform to this ordinance. That rezoning is not in here, so the two steps that would have, the step that would have to be taken by the people on South Street would be just to ask for a rezoning. The only rezoning that's in this is the one on Farm Road, which also was in the original proposal, or part of a separate proposal at the same time to rezone that. But South Street would be fine if it's rezoned. It currently does not fall into this agreement.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Councilor Dumas. Are there any other questions from the councilors?
President Ossing, it's Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. This has been a long, drawn-out process, and I just more make a comment than anything else. I think overall, the second draft of this, or the latest draft of this, is significantly better than where we were last year, as far as addressing other issues that came up that we didn't really have covered in the first round. And I appreciate having the area around Trumbetters being adjusted as part of this process. And I would definitely be supporting any zoning changes required to get prior pre-existing conditions addressed through rezoning. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Doucette. Are there any other councilors with any questions? Any councilors with any questions? Any questions from the councilors? Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing and the entire public hearing, and this resides in Urban Affairs. Let's take a 2-minute recess to clear out the phone. So, councilors, we'll be right back in 2 minutes. We are now back in session. We will continue with agenda item number 8.
Sorry. Communication from Councillor Ossing and Councillor Tenera regarding municipal aggregation, the spring 2020 update.
Mr. President.
Councillor Tenera.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just got a few bullets here for the council and the public. We got some great news, so listen in. So right now, the residents of Marlborough participating in our aggregation program saved over $605,000 on their electric bills in the fourth quarter of 2019. Number 2, we anticipate even bigger savings for the first quarter, for 2020. Number 3, a 2-year contract, which runs through November 2021 with our energy supplier Inspire, has lower rates than National Grid for the summer period. And Councilor Doucette's going to love this one. All the energy that is supplied from Inspire is 100% renewable. Wind RECs, renewable, which means renewable energy credit. So there you go. And the motion is to accept and place on file.
Motion is made and seconded to accept and place on file. Is there any discussion on the motion?
President Ossing, it's Councillor Doucette.
Councillor Doucette.
Yes, indeed. I am really impressed on how well this is working out for the city in providing green energy for the entire city. It is, there's a lot of national trend that the cost of wind energy is actually becoming more cost effective than coal. And I think us seizing that opportunity and providing that as a cost savings to the city has been a wonderful opportunity for members of our city, and looking forward to future months and with this contract. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Doucette. Any other comments from the councillors?
Mr. President, Councilor Oram.
Councillor Oram.
And I will say this time that Councilor Doucette took the words out of my mouth. But may we have more windy days as well, because it's great to hear it's all renewable based on the wind. So thanks to both of you, Councilor Tenera, Councilor Ossing, Mr. President, for going forward with this solution for renewable energy. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Oram. Any other comments from the councillors? I will make a note that half of that $605,000 worth of savings in the fourth quarter, I think Councillor Landers said, came from his household.
You bet.
So, but on a serious note, we were very fortunate to have a real good deal. The first quarter savings, I anticipated maybe in excess of $1 million that will have saved our residents. So it's really good news. Since the beginning of the program in 2006, we've saved over $5 million for our residents. So it's working out real well. And so each of you councilors, take a bow. You did a nice job saving the folks in Marlborough money on their electric bills. So hearing no other, any other comments from the councilors? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll to accept and place on file the communication.
Councillor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
Councillor Dumas.
Councillor Dumas votes yes.
Councillor Roby.
Councillor Roby votes yes.
Councillor Doucette.
Councillor Doucette votes enthusiastically yes.
Councillor Tenera.
Councillor Tenera votes yes.
Councillor Perlman.
Councillor Perlman votes yes.
Councillor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes yes.
Councillor Navin.
Councillor Navin votes yes.
Councillor Irish.
Councillor Irish votes yes.
Councillor Ossing.
Councillor Ossing votes yes.
And Councillor Wagner.
Counselor Wagner votes yes.
11 yeas.
The motion to accept and place on file the communication from the aggregation committee from the councilors is accepted and placed on file by a vote of 11-0. Agenda item number 9.
Communication from the mayor regarding a transfer request in the amount of $366,493, which moves funds from meals tax revenue account to fund fiscal year 20 bond payments associated with parks and recreation improvements.
Mr. President, Counselor Irish.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you. Exactly, there is over $4 million in this account to help fund the FY20 bond payments. My motion would be to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve the transfer from the meal tax account. Comments or questions open for discussion from the councilors.
Mr. President.
Councilor Oram.
I just would like to know, too, the rundown of the figures shows that we have $4.652 million still in this account, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct, Councilor.
Yes. Thank you.
Any other discussion from the councilors? Hearing nothing, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll to approve the transfer of $366,493.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Counselor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Counselor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Counselor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Counselor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Counselor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Counselor Oram votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Perlman.
Counselor Perlman votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
And Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
Motion to approve the $366,493 transfer is approved, 11-0. Agenda item number 10.
Communication from the mayor regarding a transfer request in the amount of $79,500, which moves funds from undesignated to open space stabilization from wireless antenna payments received in fiscal year 20.
Mr. President, Counselor Irish.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you. There is well over $6 million in the undesignated fund. My motion would be to approve the transfer.
Motion made and seconded to approve the transfer of $79,500. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Counselor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Perlman.
Counselor Perlman votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Counselor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Counselor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Counselor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Counselor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Counselor Irish votes yes, and I'd like to correct something. There's over $4 million in that account. Thank you.
And Councilor Oram.
Counselor Oram votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to approve the $79,500 transfer is approved, 11-0. Agenda item number 11.
Communication from the mayor regarding a transfer request in the amount of $10,182.60, which moves funds from reserve for salaries to various department accounts to fund provisions of the MMEA collective bargaining agreement.
Mr. President, Counselor Irish.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a contractual obligation. My motion would be to approve the transfer.
Motion made and seconded to approve the transfer, $87.60 transfer to fund the rest of the MMEA contract. And there are sufficient funds in the reserve for salary line item where it is coming from. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Counselor Irish.
Counselor Irish votes yes.
Counselor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Counselor Oram.
Counselor Oram votes yes.
Counselor Pearlman.
Counselor Pearlman votes yes.
Counselor Wagner.
Counselor Wagner votes yes.
Counselor Navin.
Counselor Navin votes yes.
Counselor Ossing.
Counselor Ossing votes yes.
Counselor Dumas.
Counselor Dumas votes yes.
Counselor Doucette.
Counselor Doucette votes yes.
Counselor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
And Counselor Roby.
Counselor Roby votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to approve the transfer of $10,187.60 is approved. 11 in favor, none opposed. Agenda item number 12.
Communication from the mayor regarding the revolving fund spending limits for the Public Safety Revolving Fund, the Parks and Recreation Revolving Fund, and the Council on Aging Revolving Fund for fiscal year 21.
Mr. President, Counselor Irish.
Counselor Irish.
Thank you. Pursuant to a provision of the City Council, my motion would be to approve all three revolving funds for FY21. That would be Parks and Recreation, Public Safety, and Council on Aging. Motion to approve the revolving fund.
So the motion is to approve the three spending limits for the revolving funds, all three orders. So the spending limits are
For Parks and Recreation, $350,000. For
Public Safety,
$75,000, and Council on Aging, $70,000.
So just to be clear, Councilor Irish, your motion is to approve the spending limits for the three revolving funds.
Thank you, Mr. President. The spending limits, that is correct, Mr. President.
Okay, a motion's been made and seconded to approve the three orders for the spending limits for the Parks and Rec, Council on Aging, and Public Safety. Any discussion on the motion?
Mr. President, Counselor Oram.
Councilor Oram.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple of notes. Revolving fees derived from their user fees. So this is coming from people using services within all these categories. And I presume as well, and Mr. President, I may ask you or Councilor Irish, the funding for public safety, I presume that is also coming from some of the donations that are from very generous donators within our city?
The donation, and the mayor can correct me, but that is a donation from Patriot Ambulance. They've been very generous over the last couple of years, donating money to the public safety account. If there's something else, the mayor can correct me, but I believe it's all from Patriot Ambulance.
Thank you, Mr. President.
That is correct, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Councilor Oram. Any other questions on the motion to approve all three orders? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Counselor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Counselor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Counselor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Counselor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Counselor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Counselor Oram votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Counselor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
And Councilor Pearlman.
Counselor Pearlman votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to approve all three orders for the spending limits for the revolving funds associated with Parks and Recreation, Public Safety, and Council on Aging is approved. 11 in favor, none opposed. Agenda item number 13.
Communication from the mayor regarding a gift acceptance in the amount of $7,500 from Digital Federal Credit Union for the fire department for state-of-the-art incident command training.
Mr. President, Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you. Motion to approve and thank you to Digital Federal Credit Union for their generous gift.
Motion made and seconded to approve the generous donation from the Digital Federal Credit Union of $7,500 to our fire department. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Councilor Pearlman votes yes.
And Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to approve the gift of $7,500 from Digital Federal Credit Union to the Marlborough Fire Department is approved. 11 in favor, none opposed. Agenda item 14.
Communication from the mayor regarding gift acceptance in the amount of $5,000 from Cummings Properties for the fire department to purchase self-use fire escape devices.
Mr. President, Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you. Motion to approve and thank you to all who made the most generous gift.
Motion made and seconded to approve the $5,000 donation from Cummings Property, which is a nice program. Their employees get $1,000 and donate it to a fund of their choice, and these 5 individuals were kind enough to donate it to the Marlborough Fire Department. So motion made and seconded to approve the gift. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes yes with thanks.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Councilor Pearlman votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
And Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to approve the gift of $5,000 from the Cummings Property to the Marlborough Fire Department is approved. 11 in favor, none opposed. Agenda item 15.
Communication from the mayor regarding proposed amendment to Chapter 398, Licenses and Permits, to ensure consistency with Mass General Law as amended by the 2016 Municipal Modernization Act.
Mr. President, Councilor Tenera here.
Councilor Tenera.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to advertise, and unfortunately we'll have to postpone it till June 22nd.
Motion made and seconded to advertise and postpone to June 22nd. And councilors, just for your information, it is a minor change, but it is an ordinance change, so it does require advertising. And with the holiday, we need a little more time. So it would show up again on our June 22nd agenda. So if you have any comments or questions, please contact the department heads, or actually the mayor's office. So on the motion to advertise and postpone to June 22nd, any discussion from the councilors? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
Counselor Pearlman.
Counselor Pearlman votes yes.
Counselor Roby.
Counselor Roby votes yes.
Counselor Oram.
Counselor Oram votes yes.
Counselor Doucette.
Counselor Doucette votes yes.
And Counselor Wagner.
Counselor Wagner votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to advertise the ordinance and postpone until our June 26th meeting is approved. 11 in favor, none opposed. Agenda item 16.
Communication from the mayor regarding the reappointment of Kevin J. Breen as fire chief for a 5-year term from July 1, 2020 to June 30th, 2025.
Mr. President, Councilor Dumas would like to speak.
Councilor Dumas.
Thank you, Mr. President. I motion to approve this. I had the opportunity to sit on a committee with Chief Breen. I'm extremely impressed with his ability to evaluate what the fire department needs, take action, and we've seen a lot of improvements with the current fire department. I think he's an excellent candidate to spearhead the new fire station that we've all been long waiting for, and I motion to approve this tonight. Thank you.
Well stated, Councilor Dumas. I will add to that I'm on the phone calls with the chief, that he runs them, the emergency calls Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and does an outstanding job coordinating the city department heads. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the reappointment of Chief Breen. Any discussion on the motion?
Mr. President.
Councilor Oram.
I would also like to compliment him on what was just said, but also he's a community-spirited person. He serves in the Rotary Club and is very community-orientated as well, so it's a great suggestion to vote on it tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Oram. Any other councilors?
Mr. President, it's Councilor Pearlman.
Councilor Pearlman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to echo everyone's sentiments. I also am extremely impressed with Chief Breen, especially as one of the new counselors. He's really been open to sharing more about the fire department, and I agree that he's very community-oriented, and I also am excited that we're voting on this tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Pearlman. Any other councilors? Hearing none, on the motion to approve the reappointment of Chief Breen, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Counselor Pearlman.
Counselor Pearlman votes yes.
Counselor Dumas.
Counselor Dumas votes yes.
Counselor Doucette.
Counselor Doucette votes yes.
Counselor Oram.
Counselor Oram votes yes.
Counselor Navin.
Counselor Navin votes yes.
Counselor Irish.
Counselor Irish votes yes.
Counselor Roby.
Counselor Roby gives an enthusiastic yes vote.
Counselor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Counselor Ossing.
Counselor Ossing votes yes.
Counselor Wagner.
Counselor Wagner votes yes.
And Counselor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to approve the reappointment of Chief Breen is approved. 11 in favor, none opposed. Congratulations to Chief Breen for hopefully another 5 years with the city. Agenda item 17.
An application for renewal of junk dealer's secondhand dealer license by Best Buy Stores LP number 820, DBA Best Buy at 769 Donald J. Lynch Boulevard.
Mr. President, Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers.
I'd like to make a motion to postpone this until June 8th. The store, Mr. President, is still closed out there. They've had a change of personnel, so we weren't able to get the query completed. So in conversation with the chief and Karen, we thought it'd be best to postpone this to June 8th. So that would be my motion.
Motion made and seconded to postpone the junk dealer license for Best Buy until June 8th. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Counselor Wagner.
Counselor Wagner votes yes.
Counselor Pearlman.
Counselor Pearlman votes yes.
Counselor Navin.
Counselor Navin votes yes.
Counselor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Doucette. Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Sorry. That's right. Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
And Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to postpone the junk deal license to Best Buy till our June 8th meeting is approved. 11 in favor, none opposed. Item 18.
Application for renewal of a junk dealer secondhand dealer license for Gene Ribello, DBA Post Road Used Auto Parts of Marlborough, 785 Boston Post Road East.
Mr. President, Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers.
I am going to make a motion to approve this tonight. We have received the query from the chief. Everything's fine there. And over the years, we've had a pretty good relationship with Post Road Used Auto Parts. So as a result, my motion will be to make this vote this tonight.
Very well. A motion's been made and seconded to approve the junk deal license for Post Road Auto. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Perlman.
Councilor Perlman votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes yes.
And Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to approve the junk deal license for Post Road Auto Parts is approved. 11 in favor, none opposed. Agenda item 19.
Communication from the Department of Conservation and Recreation regarding the 2020 forest management proposals for public review and comment.
Mr. President, Councilor Navin.
Councilor Nabin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would just like to note that the Conservation Commission has this plan on their agenda for discussion this coming Thursday, May 21st. And the DCR's proposal can be viewed, if you're a member of the public would like to view it. The link is live in the council packet that is online. And with that, I make a motion to accept and place on file.
Motion made and seconded to accept and place on file the Department of Conservation and Rec's 2020 Forest Management Plan. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Mr. President, I would suggest we approve it as the City of Marlborough.
City of Marlborough. Understood, Councilor.
Look at it. It says Town of Marlborough.
No, good catch, Councilor Oram. We'll let Priscilla know so she can correct them at the Conservation Commission. But there's no action the council has to take. Any other discussion on the motion to accept and place on file? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes yes.
Councilor Perlman.
Councilor Perlman votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
And Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
11.
Motion to accept, sorry. The motion to accept and place on file the communication from the Department of Conservation Act for the City of Marlborough is approved. 11 in favor, none opposed. Agenda item number 20.
Communication from National Grid regarding the 2020 yearly operational plan and yearly vegetation management plan, excuse me.
Mr. President, Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I make a motion to accept and place on file.
Motion is made and seconded to accept and place on file. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Councilor Pearlman votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
And Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
11 in favor, sir.
The motion to accept and place on file the communication from National Grid for the yearly operational plan is approved. 11 in favor, none opposed. Agenda item number 21.
Communications from various residents listed regarding opposition to an application for a special permit by WP Marlborough, Mass. Owner, LLC, to build a multifamily residential project in the business district to be known as Volaris Marlborough, consisting of 188 units and 4 buildings at 339 Boston Post Road East, order number 20-100 7995.
Mr. President, Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to accept and place on file the 3 communications from the residents. I would also like to point out to anyone who sent a communication to the City Council who does not see your name on here, the difference is you sent it to the City Council where we did receive it. You did not send it to the City Clerk where it would then be put onto our agenda. So you don't need to send another communication. We have many of them. Thank you.
Motion made and seconded to accept and place on file the communications from the residents in opposition to the special permit at McGee Farm. Any comments?
Mr. President?
Who's it? Councilor Pearlman.
Thank you. Sorry, I did not mean to cut you off. Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to remind anyone who's watching that there will be a public hearing on this scheduled for June 8th. So if you didn't have an opportunity to already share your comments with the councilors, there'll be another opportunity, and we'll have the public access the way that it was tonight, unless anything changes. So please be on the lookout for that as well. Thank you.
No, excellent point, Councilor Pearlman. Thank you very much. Any other discussion from the councilors? Hearing nothing, hearing none. On the motion to accept and place on file, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Councilor Pearlman votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
And Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
On the motion to accept and place on file the various correspondence, it is approved. 11 in favor, none opposed. Agenda item 22.
Minutes, boards, commissions, and committees.
President Ossing.
Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'd like to have item 22, minutes of the boards, commissions, and committees, accepted and placed on file.
Motion made and seconded to accept and place on file the minutes in agenda item 22. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Counselor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Counselor Pearlman.
Counselor Pearlman votes yes.
Counselor Doucette.
Counselor Doucette votes yes.
Counselor Navin.
Counselor Navin votes yes.
Counselor Dumas.
Counselor Dumas votes yes.
Counselor Oram.
Council Oram votes yes.
Counselor Irish.
Council Irish votes yes.
11 in favor, sir.
Motion made and seconded to accept and place on file the minutes is approved. 11 in favor, none opposed. Agenda item 23.
Claims. Sorry. Sorry.
President Austin, it's Counselor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette.
Like to take item 23 claims and forward it to legal.
Motion made and seconded to send the claims to the legal department. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Counselor Navin.
Counselor Navin votes yes.
Counselor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
Counselor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Counselor Doucette.
Counselor Doucette votes yes.
Counselor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Counselor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Counselor Oram.
Council Oram votes yes.
Counselor Dumas.
Counselor Dumas votes yes.
Counselor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Counselor Irish.
Council Irish votes yes.
And Counselor Pearlman.
Counselor Pearlman votes yes.
11 in favor, sir.
The motion to send the claims to the legal department is approved. 11 in favor, none opposed. Reports of committees. Are there any reports of committees? Hearing none. Agenda item 24.
Order number 20-100, 7929D, proposed salary ordinance amendment relative to Chapter 125, Section 6 of the City Code. The recommendation of the Finance Committee is to approve the proposed salary ordinance and to advertise. And the legal ad was published on Monday, May 4th, 2020, and the advertising requirement has been met.
Mr. President, Council Irish.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you. Recommendation of committee is to approve.
The motion's been made and seconded to approve the ordinance change. It has been properly advertised, and councilors, this is an ordinance change, so we'll have to pass the 4 stages. So are there any discussions before we get into the passage of the ordinance? Hearing none, I'll go through this 4 stages. All those in favor of suspending the first reading and approving the second reading, I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Counselor Doucette.
Counselor Doucette votes yes.
Counselor Oram.
Council Oram votes yes.
Counselor Dumas.
Counselor Dumas votes yes.
Counselor Navin.
Counselor Navin votes yes.
Counselor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
Counselor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Counselor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Counselor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Counselor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Counselor Irish.
Council Irish votes yes.
Counselor Pearlman.
Counselor Pearlman votes yes.
11 in favor, sir.
Understand that first part passes 11-0. Second portion, all those in favor of the passage to be enrolled. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Counselor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Counselor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Counselor Pearlman.
Counselor Pearlman votes yes.
Counselor Ossing.
Counselor Ossing votes yes.
Counselor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Counselor Irish.
Council Irish votes yes.
Counselor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes yes.
Counselor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Counselor Dumas.
Counselor Dumas votes yes.
Counselor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
And Counselor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
That portion is approved 11-0. All those in favor of the passage to be ordained? I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Pearlman.
Councilor Pearlman votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Council Oram votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
And Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
11 in favor, sir.
And that portion passes 11-0. Is there any objection to passage in one evening? This does not require a vote. I just need to know if anyone has any objections to passing in one evening. Hearing none, the ordinance is approved. Agenda item number 25.
Order number 20-100-7915C, proposed zoning amendment to Chapter 650, Sections 17 and 18, relative to livestock farms. And the recommendation of the Urban Affairs Committee is to approve the proposed amendment, and this matter was postponed to the May 18th, 2020 City Council meeting.
Mr. President, Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. Before we get into this order, I would like to thank the numerous residents who emailed the council supporting our original order. I also want to discuss the letter from the Planning Board. Zoning amendments are required by Mass General Law, Section 40A, or Chapter 40A, Section 5, to go to the Planning Board for their recommendation. While the council prefers to receive a favorable recommendation, it does sometimes receive an unfavorable recommendation. The vote of the Urban Affairs was to recommend approval pending the Planning Board's recommendation. Once that is received, the council simply files the communication and then may adopt, reject, or amend and adopt any such proposed ordinance or bylaw. So the Planning Board did give us an unfavorable recommendation. However, I do want people to know that the council did not file the recommendation that we did file the recommendation, but it wasn't simply filed away with no thought to their input. And I do want to thank the members of the Planning Board for the time they put into this matter and for their suggested amendments. I want to offer comments on them, if you'll bear with me. I sent an email with questions about their recommendations to Mr. Garside, the Director of Public Health, Mr. Cook, the Building Commissioner, and Mr. Grossfield, the City Solicitor. When the Urban Affairs Committee met to take up this order, we discussed in detail the Board of Health regulations versus the Council's role in zoning. No one had an issue with the proposed zoning for where chickens would be allowed or the number of chickens allowed. I personally do not agree with the Planning Board recommendation number 1 to change the zones or number 2 to change the numbers allowed, and am proposing no action. If another councilor does agree, they could recommend an amendment. Section 650-17 of the code is a table of uses. This table includes a column listing various types of uses, some noted with numbers by them. The zoning amendment deals with those numbers, which are a specific part of the zoning code, Chapter 18, Conditions for Uses. Its purpose is to define the use of each number in 617. The Planning Board's recommendation number 3 deals with the minimum lot size, and I don't believe this specific amendment to the code is the way for dealing with lot size. I also disagree with need to add a minimum lot size, so I won't be acting on this. Recommendation number 4 is that the Board of Health be the permitting authority. Mr. Garside confirmed that the Board of Health regulations show that they are already the permitting authority. He stated that no permit would be issued until the applicant received the sign-off from the zoning office that it is a permitted use in the district and it meets all setback. The Board of Health uses the Department of Agriculture guidance and uses animal control officer to conduct inspections on an annual basis. And there's also a broad nuisance statute that gives the Board of Health authority to regulate and enforce against nuisance conditions. I don't believe recommendation 4 needs any action. Mr. Garside has the planning board's letter, and if he feels there is a need to amendments to the regulations, he can make that recommendation. Recommendation number 6 deals with the accessory structures and a limit on how close a coop can be to a dwelling. Mr. Cook confirmed that chicken coops already fall under the accessory use rules in the code. For 1 and 2 family dwellings, if the coop is under 200 square feet, it would be exempt from the building permit. It's important to note that regardless of whether the coop needs a building permit or not, it must meet the requirements in the code for accessory structures. These regulations would not allow the coop to be closer than 10 feet to the principal structure, which would most likely be the house, or closer than 5 feet to any side or rear lot line. I don't believe recommendation 6 needs any action. Based on comments we received from residents and my own personal opinion, I don't see the need to amend for chickens to be allowed only for single-family owner-occupied properties as suggested in number 8. So that leaves 2 comments. Number 5, prohibiting the sale of eggs, and number 7, keeping chickens in the front yard of the property. And after consulting with Mr. Cook and Mr. Grossfield, I will be proposing 2 amendments related to those planning board recommendations. Mr. Grossfield has stated it is his opinion that my proposed amendment is not sufficient to cause a new public hearing. And Mr. Cook has offered specific language for the chickens related to the front of the property. So with that said, I move to approve the recommendation of the committee, which is to approve the zoning change to Chapter 650, Section 18, with the following amendment to Section 1B. To insert after the 4th sentence the following: the selling of eggs is prohibited, and no chicken coop shall be located between the street frontage and the primary structure front building line. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Roby. A motion has been made and seconded to approve the livestock ordinance change as amended. Is there any discussion from the councilors? And then this would be an ordinance change, so again, it will go through the 4 stages. So, councilors, any discussion on the amended ordinance?
Mr. President, Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to thank Councilor Roby for that explanation and all the work that you have put into this ordinance change. This is definitely one of those issues that at first, to me, seems simple, but gets a little bit more complicated as you start to peel back the layers. So I appreciate your diligent work and your openness to explain this thoughtful approach, especially to some of us newer councilors. So I'd also like to thank Chair Fenby and the Planning Board for their time and energy that they put into reviewing this proposal, especially Mr. Russ, who constructed the letter explaining the board's concerns and recommendations. There were several valid points raised in this letter, and I believe that the recommendations and the work that Councilor Roby has put into addressing them has provided the city with a stronger proposal. By confirming that recommendations 4 and 6 will already be addressed by the existing regulations and proposing the amendment before us to address recommendations number 2 and number 5. I believe this ordinance will provide residents who wish to keep chickens on their property with the legal right to do so, to ensure that they're doing so correctly and safely, while protecting their neighbors and their neighborhoods from potential negative impacts. And so with that, I am happy to vote in favor of this ordinance as amended tonight.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Councilor Navin. Any other councilors?
Mr. President, Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram.
And I will share the same thanks about the work that has gone into this. I work in the field of public health, and I respect what Mr. Garside has said, but I have also dealt with the nuisance issues that are created sometimes by the improper keeping of chickens. And at the same time, I do understand it's a food source, and especially in these days, it can be concerning. But I am very much in favor of what the planning board noted in respect to the minimum lot size. And living in a neighborhood with small lots, 5,000 square feet, if say 10 neighbors decided to have chickens in that area, every other neighbor with 5,000 square foot lots, it could be troublesome with nuisance odors as well, noise isn't the major issue, it's the nuisance odors. And I've had to deal with that in my work. So I cannot support this tonight, even though all the hard work went into it, and I appreciate that. But I would like to see it go back on the table to review what was mentioned by the planning board and find a resolution so that we can provide some resources to our residents who would like to have chickens and at the same time prevent future nuisances. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Oram. Is there any other discussion from the councilors?
Mr. President.
Councilor Tenera.
Yes, I wholeheartedly support Mark Oram, Councilor. They are a nuisance. I don't want chickens. I don't want my neighbors to have chickens. I have a small lot up here as well. I don't even eat chicken. So, so I will be voting against this evening. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Tenera. Are there any other comments from the councilors?
Mr. President, Councilor Perlman.
Councilor Perlman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also want to express my support for this amendment and this ordinance and the amendments that were made. I think that Councilor Roby did a really thorough job, and there was a recommendation to approve from the Urban Affairs Committee. I really do want to extend my thanks to the Planning Board and Chair Fenby as well. I think a lot of time was put into the recommendations, and many have been incorporated directly here, whether it's that the Board of Health is already the permitting authority, as well as prohibiting the sale of eggs and making sure that the chicken coop shall be located, no coop shall be located between the street frontage and the primary structure front building, and would really look to all of the support we got from residents as well and their interest in keeping chickens, especially during this time, more so than I would have thought myself as a new counselor. So similar to Councilor Navin, didn't realize how complex this issue would be. And so I'm expressing my support for this tonight, and I hope it moves forward.
Are there any other councilors that wish to speak on the amended motion to approve the livestock ordinance?
Mr. President.
Councilor Roby.
Not hearing any, if I may just add a couple of comments. This does need to pass this evening, or it will go back to the council, so I hope that it does. And I just want to let people know that if it does pass, currently there are no regulations, so technically if you have a chicken coop in your yard or chickens in your yard, they are violating city code. And the code enforcement has been pretty lenient in waiting to see what will happen, especially with this proposed amendment. If this is approved, they will be moving forward. It may not be tomorrow, it may not be in 6 months, but action will start happening. So I do want people to be aware that they need to understand that there are steps that they will need to take. And I do hope this is approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Roby. Are there any other comments from the councilors? I will add, councilors, as we go through the votes, depending on what the votes are, if there aren't enough that you think that are going to make your case, that means we'd have to advertise it again, go through the whole thing, and probably be in the same spot. So I just ask your councilors to consider that as we go through the 4 stages. Are there any other comments or questions from the councilors?
A point of order, President Austin. It's Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette.
So the last stage is passing it in one night, correct?
That is correct.
So what happens if it doesn't pass tonight?
That means we have to re-advertise, have to have a new public hearing for the City Council, a new public hearing for the Planning Board, which is all fine. We can do all that. We pay for the expense of advertising. That's part of the process. I just ask yourself, based on how you see the votes, do you see the votes changing at all, is what you got to ask yourself. And if you answer, if you can sit and say, no, the votes aren't going to change, probably worth approving this and working your way to amend it going forward with a change that might work. But that's each council makes that decision.
Thank you very much, President Austin.
You're welcome, Councilor Doucette. Any other comments or questions from the councilors?
Mr. President, I would
Councilor Oram.
Offer to make Mr. President, Councilor Oram, I would offer to make an amendment to the lot size to be 8,000 square feet or greater.
There's been a motion made and seconded to amend the lot size to 8,000 square feet. Councilor Roby.
Mr. President, there is no mention of lot size anywhere in this, so if he has a specific amendment and where he wants it placed, that would be helpful.
Councilor Oram.
I would ask it be placed within the ordinance as proposed. It can be added like at the bottom as the other red highlighted areas were added. Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilor Roby.
If you're looking for a second from me, you're not going to get one.
No, I'm going to ask for a 2-minute recess, please. 2 minutes. City Council is back in session. So there's been a motion made and seconded to increase the lot size for chickens to 8,000 square feet. Discussion on the motion.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor
Mr.
Wagner.
President would like to add. I'm not sure if I'm putting this the proper. So on the motion, 8,000 feels like an arbitrary number pulled out of thin air. I'm not sure what the logic and rationale behind it is. And we did receive letters from constituents that talk when something like that was proposed. It feels very discriminatory. 8,000 square feet is a pretty large area. Again, I don't know what that basis is, some ratio chicken to land that feels very arbitrary, and it's going to discriminate against people that could easily have chickens and take care of them without it being a nuisance. And I would oppose the idea of this amendment.
Councilor Oram, would you like to add anything as to where the 8,000 square feet came from?
I believe they probably jumped above the 5,000 square foot lots that you see out there that I mentioned earlier. I would have to have them interviewed, and that's why I said this is a work in session, and they did ask that it be re-reviewed with the planning board. And unfortunately, if we vote on it tonight, there won't be that opportunity to sit down maybe and try to get through it all and find out not just the reasoning for the 8,000 square feet, but for some of the other areas as well. I believe, too, that 8,000, it seems to be over the 5,000, the smaller lots in town. And it's almost like the happy middle between a 5,000 square foot lot and typically a 10,000. But it is correct. It's arbitrary. And maybe we can find out where they may have gotten that from. But I do see in my field of work, nuisance issues usually happen with odors, and from chickens especially. When you have tiny lots next to each other, that's when you start having a very demanding type situation, because you end up allowing it, and then you can have it's problematic when they're small lots. But could it be 6,500? Could it be 7,000? I think it's that after 5,000 square foot lot that you see, and you do see some of those in some of the smaller neighborhoods.
Mr. President, Councilor Roby, can I just do a quick point of order? Was there a second on his?
Yes, the president seconded the motion.
All right, thank you. I wasn't paying attention when you came back, so I missed that point. And can I just offer comments to Councilor Oram? I guess I want to make sure what he is saying. What the planning board recommended was that the minimum lot size be 8,000 square feet. Is that his motion? Because that's not what you restated, I don't think.
And that could be correctly stated that way. Indeed, I would like to go with the actual verbiage that the planning board offered to all of us. Thank you. Yeah, that is correct. Counselor.
And then if I could also comment, I attended the planning board meeting this evening, although I did not expect it. They did ask me some questions about this specifically. I don't think it was ever their intent for this to go back to the planning board. I think they, in their typical wisdom for any recommendation, they can either recommend yes, no, they can recommend with suggestions. They were offering suggestions. They understood from my point of view that I accepted some of them. I did not accept others. And they, although some of them seemed to have some concerns, still understood that that was where this lay at the moment, not going back to the planning board. Although if this is not approved tonight, it would go back to the planning board. So I personally hope that doesn't have to happen.
Is there any other discussion on the amendment to add the minimum lot size of 8,000 square feet?
Mr. President, Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin.
Thank you, Mr. President. If I could just ask a qualifying question to Councilor Roby, as in your conversations with Mr. Garside, as they will be overseeing the regulation promulgation during this, would they be allowed to, and would they likely put in regulations that require people to follow and meet certain standards, no matter their lot size, for cleanliness and the way that the coops are kept, so that could then be enforced, so that we would not be discriminating against people with smaller lot sizes, but against the people who may not be living up to their end of the bargain for what they committed to when they had the chickens. And may that be a better way to approach this, as opposed to picking one lot size versus the other, and that we put it into an enforcement case.
Mr. President, if I may, through you, answer Councilor Navin. Yes. I did cite the comments that Mr. Garside made, where he specifically cited Mass General Law, stating that he can enforce nuisance and he would be able to enforce this. You could have a huge yard, and if you have enough chickens, you could still be a nuisance to your neighbors. So I don't think the yard size is really the issue. I think it's how the chickens are kept by their owner. So the nuisance ordinance that he has already in his ability to deal with this, I think would handle everything.
Thank you.
President Ossing, it's Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette.
So I understand the concern as far as the size of the lot and the number of chickens. And if we're going to be limiting the lot size, it might make more sense to actually limit the number of chickens for smaller lots, and then with larger lots, support more chickens. If we went down that path, we'd have to, we can't pass what we have today, because that would be a significant change to put in at the last minute. So I'm not sure if that makes sense to actually include it at this point, but maybe that could be something that could be addressed as an amendment at a future date. I'm just tossing that out to Councilor Oram and the others as far as how we can move forward to this and then possibly amend it later.
Thank you, Councilor Doucette. Any other discussion?
Mr. President, Councilor Dumas would like to speak.
Councilor Dumas.
Thank you. I feel like this is going to be a slippery slope. We can go back and hashtag every single or discuss every point during this change. However, this isn't our pay. It's above my pay grade. If we just approve this without the amendment, let the Director of Public Health figure out if it's a nuisance or not. That's their responsibility. They can set their own rules and regulations. Just like I have a salon here, I'm allowed to open up a salon. The licensing board comes in and inspects to see if I'm doing a good job. It doesn't matter if my salon is 10,000 square feet. It doesn't matter if it's 300 square feet. I'm providing a service. The residents of Marlborough want this. There's already chickens out there. What does it matter? Let the Board of Health figure out if it's a nuisance or not. I don't want to make sure that my neighbor is a nuisance or not. If it is, I know who to contact. I contact my city councilor. I can talk to the Board of Health. I can contact Pam Wilderman. I can do what I need to do to make sure that they're doing their due diligence and not me. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Dumas. Any other discussion from the councilors?
Councilor Perlman, Mr. President.
Councilor Perlman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to echo Councilor Dumas's remarks, and definitely from what Councilor Roby indicated before, there was nothing in place to begin with, so we didn't really have anywhere to start. So it's important to put something on the books and then be able to make further amendments if needed. But I agree that we shouldn't be limiting. I think it would be discriminatory to put a lot size at this time, and we really should be monitoring the enforcement of nuisance or not. And I think the Board of Health and the director are well positioned to do so. So I think we should move forward on this tonight.
Thank you, Councilor Perlman. Any other discussion? So hearing none, I will add that I think it would be in the council's better interest to approve the order as amended by Councilor Roby. The items that are forwarded by Councilor Oram, I think, would lead better to a subsequent amendment or subsequent submittal or zoning change if we see problems exist. But I feel it's important that we have something on the books now where we have nothing, and I'd hate to see this stop because it seems pretty clear where all the votes are, and I don't see it changing right now without any history. So with that, on the motion to add a minimum lot size of 8,000 square feet. We'll vote on that to see if we want that to be amended to the current ordinance. Again, it takes 6 votes to pass that amendment. Is there any other discussion before I ask the clerk to call the roll on that amendment for an 8,000 square foot minimum lot size? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes no.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes no.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes no.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes no.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes no.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes no.
Councilor Perlman.
Councilor Perlman votes no.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes no.
3 in favor, 8 opposed, sir.
8-3.
The motion to amend the ordinance to add a minimum lot size of 8,000 square feet does not pass with 8 councilors voting to oppose and 3 councilors voting in favor. So now we're back to the amendment, the livestock ordinance as amended by Councilor Roby. Is there any discussion on that motion that has been made and seconded? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll. We'll go through the 4 stages of ordinance approval. All those in favor of suspending the first reading and approving the second reading, please call the roll.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes no.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes no.
Councilor Perlman.
Councilor Perlman votes yes.
And Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
9 in favor, 2 opposed, sir.
What about Irish? Okay, yep, nope, it's a 9-2. All right, so that first part passes 9-2. All those in favor of the passage to be enrolled? I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes no.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
Counselor Oram.
Counselor Oram votes no.
Counselor Navin.
Counselor Navin votes yes.
Counselor Pearlman.
Counselor Pearlman votes yes.
Counselor Dumas.
Counselor Dumas votes yes.
Counselor Wagner.
Counselor Wagner votes yes.
Counselor Doucette.
Counselor Doucette votes yes.
Counselor Roby.
Counselor Roby votes yes.
And Counselor Ossing.
Counselor Ossing votes yes.
9 in favor, 2 opposed, sir.
Second portion is approved 9-2. All those in favor of the passage to be ordained. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Counselor Dumas.
Counselor Dumas votes yes.
Counselor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes no.
Counselor Irish.
Counselor Irish votes yes.
Counselor Navin.
Counselor Navin votes yes.
Counselor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
Counselor Oram.
Counselor Oram votes no.
Counselor Ossing.
Counselor Ossing votes yes.
Counselor Pearlman.
Counselor Pearlman votes yes.
Counselor Roby.
Counselor Roby votes yes.
Counselor Wagner.
Counselor Wagner votes yes.
Counselor Doucette.
Counselor Doucette votes yes.
In favor, 2 opposed.
That is approved, 9 in favor, 2 opposed. And is there any objection to the passage in one evening? Hearing none, the ordinance is approved. Thank you, councilors. Councilor Tenera.
Mr. President, motion to adjourn.
Motion is made and seconded to adjourn. I will ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Counselor Roby.
Counselor Roby votes yes.
Counselor Pearlman.
Counselor Pearlman votes yes.
Counselor Ossing.
Counselor Ossing votes yes.
Counselor Oram.
Counselor Oram votes yes.
Counselor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
Counselor Navin.
Counselor Navin votes yes.
Counselor Irish.
Counselor Irish votes yes.
Counselor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Counselor Dumas.
Counselor Dumas votes yes, please.
Counselor Doucette.
Counselor Doucette votes yes.
Counselor Wagner.
Counselor Wagner votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to adjourn is approved 11-0. I do want to thank the councilors. You did an outstanding job this evening. Thank you very much for all the work you put into it. We are adjourned at 10:07.